Well, hi there. It's Leslie from LuvINK&Paper, and we're going to do a little redo of the video I tried to do live last night. That just didn't quite work. So, anyway, what I have, and if you're going to play along, what you're going to need are some of the Stampin' Up! Stampin' Blends alcohol-based markers. Okay, some kind of either a spritzer or, and I do recommend a mister or something. I found that my particular brush grabbed too much alcohol, so you could try it with a smaller brush and a container. You're going to need some isopropyl alcohol, and the higher the percentage, the better. Okay, so you want at least 90, but if you can find 93, a video I saw had one of the folks had 99. I don't know where you find 99% alcohol, but anyway, you want to really, the 50 and 73% won't work. Okay, you want at least the 91. All right, so let me just, oh, you'll also need some vellum cardstock. Okay, I did order, and I wasn't crazy about the results, but I did order some, not that paper, where is it? Here it is. It was called Yupo. I think it's YUPO something. It's like a plastic, actually, and I played around with it a little bit yesterday, and I wasn't getting quite the look I wanted, so I'm gonna play some more, and once I really get the hang of it, I will show you on this paper. But for now, to get so it's not translucent, what I do is when I'm finished with a piece of the vellum and I have the look I want, I go ahead and adhere it to some of our basic white cardstock. Okay, and that gives almost the same feel as the Yupo paper. All right, and there's a couple ways you can do that. You can use a sponge and some of the liquid glue and get a real thin layer using a silicone mat, and then add this, or you can use our adhesive sheets. They come 6 by 12 and they peel off, and so you use this part. So this is the backing, so you use this part and then you burnish it real well, and then this part, this side, peels off. Okay, and I'm going to show you something that you can do with those too when we get to the gilded leafing. All right, so let me show you real quick the cards I did yesterday, and then I'll show you the technique. Okay, so this first one, I actually took a print. Let me show you the scrap paper. So I had a piece of vellum and I had colored on it, and it got too much alcohol on it. It just was too wet. So I thought, well, I'll solve that problem. I'll just soak up the alcohol. And I got this, which I thought was really cool, except that it was on my yucky scrap paper. It's like, oh man, it was so cool. So I tried to recreate that on another piece of vellum and took a print of it on basic white. And then I wasn't crazy about it as a background per se. So I pulled out my, let's see, where is I think it's called Daisy Garden. I thought I had the stamp case right here with me. Oh, I do. All right, so I pulled out Daisy Garden, and it's one big stamp, and I put it on my Stamparatus. Okay, and I inked it up in Memento Black and stamped on the basic white that I had pulled a print of. Okay, so it had all the color. And then it still didn't quite do what I wanted it to do. So I took and colored with my blends a couple of strategic spots. I didn't color the whole thing, just a couple of spots to kind of give it a little bit of focus. Okay. I haven't quite finished that. I was looking for perhaps a Melon Mambo. That one might be a little big. We'll see. I'll find something that I want to use there. Okay, to put a greeting on there. So that was one thing. Then another thing you can do is you can die cut flowers or greetings or whatever you want to stamp on that piece of vellum once it's adhered to the Whisper White cardstock. So I have some other ones that I just did. Now the trick is when you stamp on vellum, it takes a while to dry. So these I stamped before I left to go to the orthodontist no, I'm not getting braces. They are fitting me for a night guard because I clench my teeth really badly at night, like create so much tension in my neck and stuff but also I have flaked enamel off my teeth. So in order to save my teeth, I am going to wear a night guard to try and preserve these teeth in my head. So anyway, before I went, I stamped these on the one of the sheets that I had done. And then just left them sitting here on my desk for, I don't know, I was gone maybe 40 minutes or something. And when I came back, they were fine. You can always sort of speed up the process a little with your heat tool if you need to. Okay, so we've got those. So that's another one. So this was just one of the scalloped contours dies. I think I used the second to the largest for this one. And then the flowers. Okay. And then I added the gold gilded leafing to the centers. And I'm going to show you that too. All right. So that's another, something you can do. All right. Is get the piece that you like and then die cut out of it. This is the piece actually that those 3 flowers came from. And I think I used Bermuda Bay and Daffodil Delight and maybe Melon Mambo or something. Okay. All right. So that's another option that you have. Then you can just use them as backgrounds. Now, both these 2 were done a little bit differently. This one is smooth, no texture. This one, like this, I ran through, once I adhered it to the basic white cardstock, I ran it through the painted texture embossing folder. Okay, and so I'm going to show you how we got this. All right, so let's do that next. And then I'll show you, actually, let me show you this one first. Then while this dries, we can play with this one. All right. And don't worry, I'm going to show you the technique, I promise. But let's use some of the pieces that I have first. Okay, so let me show you. Well, I can just add a little more to this one. All right, so what I did was I took our liquid, the Tombow Mono Liquid, no, Tombow Multi Mono Liquid Glue. I don't know. The multi is because you can use it as a glue, just to glue something together. You can use it as a wet liquid glue. But this particular glue does not dry completely. All right. If you leave it open to the air, it will dry tacky. All right. So that means you can add something more to it. All right. So I could, let's find a line that I like. Let's try up here. So you can just, not a lot. You want it very light. Okay, and that's going to spread a little more than I wanted it to. That's okay. I want to pop any bubbles, stuff. So you're just going to kind of trace along any of the lines that you see. Okay. And I think I'm going to take this and just see if I can stretch it out a little thinner, because I don't want it super thick and I want it to dry pretty quickly. Okay. So when you do, get it thin down like that. Okay. You can leave it to dry. Right. I'm going to do a little bit more. Maybe right down here. Okay, so I'm just doing it really, really thin. Okay. And then I'm going to just leave it to dry. So we've just got a little bit more in there. Okay. Just add a little bit more like that. Okay. So then I'm just going to leave that to air dry a little bit. Okay. While we do this other one. So then here's another one. So this is, you notice that I've used this color combination a lot. Okay, so I really like these three purples together a lot. So I started with the Dark Highland Heather, and I also have the Light Blackberry Bliss and the Dark Fresh Freesia, which is one of the new in colors. Now you would think, looking at those three caps, that they are going to color the same color. They don't. Okay, they don't. So let's do a little bit of that coloring. So let me grab a piece of scrap paper. And you are going to want to protect your work surface for sure. And because I just started using this particular grid paper, I'm going to just do another one. It doesn't matter what color you start with, just pick any three colors. You're going to want to make sure that they're not going to be muddy together. Like, so you want to pick ones that would blend. You might want to pick a pink, yellow, and maybe a blue, because those are going to mix well. The blue and the green where they touch, I mean the blue and the yellow where they touch, they'll make green. Where the yellow and the pink touch, they'll make sort of an orangey. And if the pink and the blue touch, they'll make kind of a purpley. So you don't want anything that's going to, like purple and yellow or red and green or something that are going to make mud. That's not good. Or like I have done, you can choose a few of a similar shade and, you know, a couple of different yellows or a couple of different greens or, you know, something like this. So this is the Blackberry Bliss. Isn't that cool? It just is such a nice raspberry color. I love it. Okay. And you're going to use the wide end of your blend, and you're not going to use the tip because you don't want to mash the tip. You're going to use it sideways. Okay, kind of like that. And just put some of those colors in there. Right. So that one was the Highland Heather. And then we'll go to the Freesia. This one almost looks pink. Whoops, I think I grabbed the Blackberry Bliss again. Yep, I did. And there's the Highland Heather. Here's the Fresh Freesia. I knew it was here somewhere. This one almost goes on pinky. See? I'm going to put a little more Highland Heather right here, I think. And if you go over or something, that's totally okay. You don't want to have too much white, all right, because then you have to work at mixing those colors kind of a lot. All right, so you want to kind of, if you can, fill it up pretty good. Okay. That's looking pretty good there. Okay. All right, so then you're going to take your mister. Make sure your nozzle is pointed at your paper, not at you. Okay, just saying. Could happen. All right. And just give it, and you can see it already starting to work. Okay. You don't want to saturate it, but you want it to have a chance to move that ink around. And the other thing that's going to be really helpful is a stippling kind of brush, a nice stiff kind of brush. So then I can go in and kind of move that alcohol around a little bit, and you get a little bit different look to it. Okay. And you can kind of fill in, move that ink around, fill in those white spots a little bit. Okay. Now, if it feels like you don't have enough, you could go and do more. Okay. But remember, sometimes less is more. So you just want to let it, give it some time to do its thing. Okay. Like that. All right. So you don't really want alcohol running off of it. Okay. But as it dries, you can see if you can get it to activate again. Sometimes you can. Okay, you can also drop it on there. Like, let me see if I can get it to see how it changes. You could also, if you had an eyedropper, you could drop some on there with an eyedropper, just very carefully, just a little. So what I might do is, yeah, see what happened? See if I can get my brush to pick up enough that I can get it to move some of the ink a little bit. See how it reacts a little bit. Okay. So you get kind of a different look to it. So it's kind of doing its thing. So you can kind of help it go, you know, steer it a little bit if you want. And you can take that edge. If you do get a little puddling, just move it a little bit. Okay. Then you can use your heat tool. I would start low if you have a low setting on yours. And you can blow it around a little bit. Coax it in a different direction. Okay. There. Starting to dry up now. Yeah. So every single one is going to look different, even if you use the same color combination. Okay, I've used exactly the same color combination, and every single one looks different. Okay, so all right, so that's still drying. You've seen how to kind of do the technique. So let's see how we use one that's been textured to get this kind of look with the Gilded Leafing. Okay, this, by the way, is a little bit messy. I don't think it's as bad as glitter, but it will kind of do its thing, so you may be a little gold. So what I've got is my Versamark pad. Okay, this is a ink that will stay a little bit sticky and wet for a little bit, so that powders like embossing powders or heat and stick powder, which is a powdered adhesive, will stick to it. Okay, so what you want to do is try to have a lighter hand than I had. So some of my places got a little bit heavy, but I'll show you what you can do if that happens. So you just want to very, very lightly kind of go over the top and just try and catch those edges. That actually, I can see the change. I can see that that's gotten mostly just the top edges. So I'm going to do a less is more and stop there. And I'm going to use my old friend, the Powder Pal that we used to sell. And if you still have one, great. If you don't, I think they still sell them, just not in black, because that was a special Stampin' Up color. Oops, and I see a cat hair, I think. That's okay. I can get that out of there. And you just want to flick off any excess, okay, just like you do with embossing powder. It's looking pretty good. There's a couple places that I think are a little heavy, so I'm going to take this travel blush brush that I got probably at CVS and see if I can brush a little bit off of there. Okay, just want to get a little bit. I just don't want to have big, huge splotches. Okay, so we'll get a little bit out of there. That's looking pretty good, I think. All right, then set that over there and get my heat and stick powder back into my little container like that, and put the top back on, set that aside, and grab my heat tool. Now this is going to be a little noisy, so sorry about that, and you probably won't see it happening because it goes clear, so sorry about that too, but here we go. I'm going to just now with heat and stick powder, you want to see it turn clear. Okay, you don't want it grainy because it won't be an adhesive then. But you want to be careful you're not going to burn it off. All right, you need to kind of keep things moving, and once it starts turning clear, move to a new spot. Okay, and I'm seeing that. Holding my head kind of at a funny angle, but I can see it go. Okay. I'm going to just give it a little bit more here. Like this. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Then, working quickly, it's not a, huge race, but you do want to grab that while it's still hot. Now, normally I pull pieces out and lay them on, but when I've done a big area like this, I find it's just easier to smush that down in. Yep, and this gets all over me, and oh, I might even have, oh, look at that, a gold nail. Okay, we might be using a little nail polish remover tonight. All right. Then I have, that I keep with this all the time, I just have a old sponge. And so a lot of this will just rub right off like that. Okay. And then I can rub with a little more aggression. Okay, I can rub a little more vigorously and take off what I don't want. Okay, and some of it's going to stick because I had an exposed edge down there on the adhesive sheet. That's okay. Okay, and so I'm just going to rub off as much of that as I can. This is so much fun to play with. I love it. This gold leafing. So one of the whole reasons that I decided to do this, show you guys this technique, this alcohol technique, was because, I'm just going to lightly set that on there because we're going to do something else in just a second. Yeah, I'm going to have to. All right. It was because this next month, whoa, wow, that could have been a disaster. The next paper pumpkin is called Expressions in Color, and it's going to have cards with images and backgrounds that are going to mimic this technique. Okay, so I wanted to show you how you could get more of that look, right? And it also coordinates with this fabulous Expressions in Ink Designer Series paper. Let me pull a couple of sheets out and I'll show you. Okay, so the artist that created this Designer Series paper for Stampin' Up, is that not striking or what? So some of the sheets have the gold foil on the sort of printed side, and some have it on the alcohol-y looking side. Okay, so this one is just plain. This one has the marbling in here, and then this is our printed side. And I think these images, I think this is the sheet where they will work with the die cuts in that bundle. Okay, and then there's this one with the pink. I think that's polished pink. And then this side doesn't have it. Okay, so one side has the gold and one side does not. So that is a really cool Designer Series paper. It's a specialty paper, so it's a little bit more expensive, but it is well worth it. So that was one of the looks that I was trying to recreate by sharing this with you and adding the gold leafing. All right, so now you see how I did that. All right. And this was looking for a, ooh, see, that's exactly what I was looking for. Last night I struggled because I knew I wanted Melon Mambo. And what I ended up having here was Magenta Madness and Polished Pink. But you can see, and they're not the same. Okay, some people are like, oh, it's all the same. It's not. Magenta Madness and Polished Pink might be the other way around. This could be the Magenta Madness. This could be the Polished Pink. And Melon Mambo, when you get them together, look very, very different. Okay, so I think we'll tuck that there. And I'm pretty sure that my 1.5 inch circle punch is right here. And I just need a greeting that will fit in there. And I think Color and Contour might have one. So let's just see if it does. Let's see here. Yeah, pretty close. All right. So we'll just do the greeting in black. I know some people always like to try and match their greetings. There are some people that only stamp greetings in black. It's up to you. But for this one, I'm going to just myself a little black. What a mess I am. Oh my gosh. Between the nail that I smashed in the garage door, the ones that are gold from the leafing, and the ink that I got on me, I am a mess. Good thing I love to craft and I don't mind getting messy. All right. So that is going to fit very nicely right in there. Oh, I love that card. Oh, I wonder who the lucky person is that's going to be getting that card because I love it. Somebody I like very much. Actually, I'll probably put it on display in the studio for a little bit because it's so gorgeous. Then it can go. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is leave this one. No, I like this popped up. So let's pop this up on dimensionals. And when I do a circular one, I like to try and do, even on small ones, I try and do sort of a triangle. So usually 3 is what I aim for. And how about I not do that yet? And how about I use a little bit of liquid glue for a couple of reasons. I don't normally use the liquid glue to adhere things, but when it's got texture like this, the liquid glue tends to work just a little bit better. I'm going to go just under that bow so I'm not hanging off the edge of my card. Okay, and I really just put adhesive in the middle. I just put glue in the middle, so this webby part is not glued down. And then we'll put that right there. All right. Oh, love that one. Okay, so let's go back to that one that I added, which I've probably stuck something to now. So the glue has done its job and dried, and you can't really see it, but you can tell where it is because it dried tacky, which is what it's supposed to do. All right, so then what we're going to do is, I like to see if I can find, whoop, that's a pretty good one, and just lay some of that gilding right down on there. Sometimes I can find a really big piece like that. And then I'm just going to see where else I put it. Okay. And I may have broken a lot of these now. When I first got it, there were some really big sheets in there. But when I rub it around like I did, I may have damaged a bunch of them. There's a pretty good one. See? So there's that. Here's a little here. I can kind of find where that glue, right? There's a little bit more here. Okay. Like that. Like that. I think I got it all. All right, so then I'm going to knock these bigger pieces back down in there. I'm going to grab my yucky sponge, and then I'm just going to rub, okay, so that we have those veins going through there. Like that. Okay. Ooh. There we go. Okay. So there's that. And I played around with some pieces that I think might look really good on there. But not quite. Not sure if I like that. That might be too big. And I don't want that. Well, I thought I got what I wanted. But now I'm not so sure. For this particular one, I may play around with something more because I'm not real sure. Let me see. Hang on one second. Let's take a look at what I've got for greetings right over here. I love this stamp set, but it's not going to work for what I want. Ooh, the Hello Friend might, though. So this Hello Friend from, let me see. Yep. And what I think I'm going to do is stick that to the edge of that. There. And grab the Blackberry Bliss pad here. And a sponge. I was thinking it needed a whole layer, but I'm starting to think that it really doesn't. It just needs some of this ink. Around the edge. Like that. Yep, that's all it needed. Okay. So we'll pop that up on dimensionals. And actually put that, because I ended up not liking that very much. So I think we're just going to do that. And since I have the Blackberry Bliss, let's just grab a couple pearls and make them so you can just kind of, did you know you can make your, with your blends, you can make your embellishments whatever color you have a blend for. Okay. And I usually try and give them just a second to dry and give them one more coat. So I'll go back here, darken that one up a little bit, darken this one up a little bit, and this one too, like that. Then we'll add these down here, one here. Hey, you. One here in this white spot, and then one up here to kind of triangulate your, and it just kind of pulls your eye. So just kind of a sprinkle of those. Okay, so there's that finished card. Okay, so I think that covers all of the things that I did last night, and we ended up finishing up a couple of cards, which was fun. So you can look for these the next time you are at the studio. Okay, so I hope that was fun, and sorry that we had those technical difficulties, but glad you hung in there with me and came back to see this one. All right, thanks so much, guys.